Yo, what is good? DTF Nation, it's your boy, Adam DTF, back here again with another video here at Dubs Team Fantasy Sports, baby. Today, we wanted to go over real quick a few of the player props that I like over on PrizePicks for the two Monday Night Football games tonight, Week 2, NFL season, September 19th, 2022, last two games of the week. Let's try to get this bag tonight, baby. Our Sunday slates, we hit on some props, but our parlays didn't hit all the way, so that's disappointing. So we're going to try to close the week on a high note and hopefully get a parlay or two to come to fruition fully tonight. We don't have a lot of time, so let's get right into the video. But before we get started, I want to ask you to please hit that subscribe button. We're trying to grow the family. We're brand new here on YouTube, so be sure to hit the subscribe button if you enjoy the content. Turn on the notification bell so that way you'll know the instant we upload a video each and every time. We're going over it all this season. We're going over fantasy lineups. We're going start sit advice. We're going waiver wire advice. We're going player props, parlays, the whole nine with the betting world. So be sure to get in here on the ground floor with DTF Sports because it's only up and to the moon from here. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like down below and also leave us a comment telling us what you like, telling us the props that you are going for. All these actions help us with the YouTube algorithm and it helps us grow, and so we greatly appreciate any help that you send our way. And also, just want to throw this little disclaimer out here. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I am not advising you on anything when it comes to me going over these player props here on PrizePicks. I am simply just sharing what player props I'm looking at to potentially take a stab at for myself. Whatever you do is on your own accord and volition. I claim no responsibility for any winnings, any losses that you may have, or anything you may do with this information. This information is for entertainment purposes only, and it is just me going over things that I'm doing for myself. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this video. And the very first player prop I like off the rip is Ryan Tannehill. 213.5 passing yards. I like this to take the over on because looking at the Buffalo Bills defense, they are, in my opinion, the best defense in the league, no doubt. I mean, look at what they did to the Rams. The Rams were not ready the very first game of the season, week 1. But Matthew Stafford, even with that horrible performance that he gave last week, still was able to pass 240 passing yards on the Buffalo Bills defense. Now, we look at Ryan Tannehill and looking back at what he did in the one game that they played during the regular season last year, and he was able to go for 216 passing yards, only completed 18 of 29 passes for no touchdowns and a pick that game. So, I like this player prop right here. I think that is a safe number that we can expect him to reasonably be able to get pretty easily. I won't say super easy, but you know, the Bills defense is not going to stop him and give him like a Justin Fields type night, right? Where Justin Fields only passed for 70 yards on Sunday, week 2. Ryan Tannehill, I know he's still building chemistry with his receivers, but he's going to be able to get some yardage out here. He's got weapons. He's got Derrick Henry. They won't be able to not stack the box because if you don't stack the box with Derrick Henry, then Derrick Henry's going to run all over you. So he'll have some man coverage one-on-one with some of his pass catching options, and I think that he'll be able to take advantage of that and at least get 214 passing yards. So we're going to take the over on it. The next prop that jumped out to me for tonight's games is over here in the receiving yardage, and it's Derrick Henry for 10.5 receiving yards. Now, you look at what he did last week, and he didn't get targeted at all. That was Dontrell Hilliard getting targeted. But Hilliard has been ruled out for tonight, and the rookie Haskins is assumed to be next up. But with a very important game tonight, Tennessee Titans trying to not go 0-2 to start the season. when they were the number one seed in the AFC last year. I don't know how much they're going to trust the rookie, how much they're going to be passing his way. Looking at Derrick Henry's stats from last season, let me look them up here on the other screen right quick. So looking at Derrick Henry and stats from last season, before he got hurt, Derrick Henry was catching passes, man. I mean, before he got hurt, in the 8 games that he played, 7 full games, there was only 1 game out of the 7 full games that he played where he didn't receive any receiving yards. But that was also the same game where he ripped off 130 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns, and it was against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they didn't really have a need to target him in the passing games because he was just destroying them on the ground. And all the other games, granted, he ripped off huge yardage, but he still was effective in the passing game. 2021 season, week 1, 19 receiving yards. 2021 week 2, 55 receiving yards. Week 3, 31 receiving yards. Week 4, 20 receiving yards. Week 5, that was the game against the Jaguars that I just went over. And week 6, 13 receiving yards. So, with there being no Hilliard tonight, who was the primary pass option out of the backfield last week, taking 3 receptions for over 60 yards and 2 touchdowns, I think that Derrick Henry will be involved a bit in the passing game tonight. Now, there are others out there I'm sure that won't agree with me, but I will take this and I'll take the over on it because honestly, who else do they have to throw to out of the backfield? That's how I'm thinking about it right now. That front 7 for the Bills, they're going to be stout. They're probably going to bring an extra man down. So you may have some dump offs. You may have some leak outs to the side for screens. So, and that's also a very low yardage total. I mean, if you look at guys like Darrell Henderson, let's see, do they have a prop up for him for this week? I just wanted to look back at what he did. Okay, they don't have one up for him, so I'll have to look on my other screen. But yeah, man, like Henderson against the Bills. Let's see what he did for his receiving yards. Yeah, Henderson was able to get 26 receiving yards, man. I would say that Derrick Henry can catch passes just as good as Darrell Henderson. So I'm taking the over on it, man. You got to take a stab. Scare money, don't make money. So these two right here, we're taking over. And also popping back over just to look at Ryan Tannehill's past 5 games. Another thing that makes me confident about taking the over on his 213.5 projected passing yards is looking what he threw up on the New York Giants, 266 yards. Going back to last season, 220 yards and 287 yards to end the season. And then, as I stated, in the game last year, during the regular season against the Bills, our man Ryan Tannehill managed to throw up 216 passing yards. So, and yeah, that was with Derrick Henry still healthy and everything. So take it for what you will. Again, like I said, this is not any type of financial advice. This is just what I am thinking about doing for myself. Now let's look over here at the rushing yards prop. Ryan Tannehill, 9.5 rushing yards. I know over on FanDuel this is set at 10.5 rushing yards, so I won't be surprised if PrizePicks ends up bumping the lineup the closer we get to game time here in an hour or two. But last week, Ryan Tannehill went for 7 rushing yards. Ryan Tannehill and rushing is something that's kind of hard to predict in my opinion, but I could see him going over for it, man. I could see him getting 10 rushing yards. That's just a couple of second and 5, third and 5s trying to pick up the first down, right? Which quarterbacks we see do all the time. So for Ryan Tannehill, that low of a rush prop, when I see rush props this low, I'm inclined to take the over, in all honesty. I don't think that I don't think they're going to be concerned with trying to stop Ryan Tannehill from running, which I believe will open the door for Ryan Tannehill to be able to run a little bit. And I mean, even if we look back, Matthew Stafford, who doesn't run at all, he got a couple yards last week running on the Bills. So we'll see on that. Josh Allen and his 40.5 rushing yards prop. This is one that I've been looking at. I'm not sure what to think about it, though, in all honesty. I want to take a look here on the other screen and see what Daniel Jones, if he put up any rushing yards last week. He did. 25 rushing yards on the Tennessee Titans. Okay, man. If Daniel Jones can put up 25 yards on Tennessee Titans, then Josh Allen, who is the RB1 in Buffalo, don't get it twisted. This is another prop that I like to take the over on. So that's what we're going to do. I mean, if you look here, every game for the past 5 games, taking out this preseason game, Josh Allen has gone over 40 rushing yards. I know that they don't want Josh Allen to run all the time, but I just think this is too easy of a matchup for him to exploit, to not run. I mean, he was able to drop 56 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown on the Rams last week, and the Rams have a better defense than Tennessee Titans. And if taking a look here on my other screen at other games of Josh Allen, let's see, he only did 26 rushing yards when they played the Tennessee Titans last year during the regular season, but he had 353 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns. So, man, let's take a look here on the other screen and see if I can find. A few more stats. When was their last postseason game? That was last year. Come on, here we go. Okay. Titans knocked them out during the postseason. I cannot find game stat summary right now. I don't want to take up too much time. Okay. Either way, I like Josh Allen to be able to get 41 rushing yards. I mean, if Daniel Jones got over 20 rushing yards, Josh Allen, who is a superior quarterback in all facets of the game, he's going to end up getting more. I guarantee that. Okay, here we go. Maybe I can find it right here. All right, and that. No. Did they not play each other last year in the playoffs? Anyway, I'm wasting everybody's time. Okay. I like using data to justify the reason why I'm taking the props that I take, but all I need to see is that Daniel Jones threw up the 20 plus rushing yards, on the Titans, and that's all I need to see. So, yeah, we're going to take the over and trust that if Daniel Jones can get 25 rushing yards, then Josh Allen can get 41 rushing yards. I'm sure the coaching staff at Buffalo, I'm sure they noticed that, and I'm sure that they are thinking the same thing that I am, that this is a matchup that they can exploit. So boom, 4th pick, we're taking the over. Now I know this is a lot for the same game, and as a matter of fact, with these 2 Ryan Tannehill picks, you will not be able to do them in the same parlay. So just keep that in mind when you are placing your bets. Devin Singletary, I kind of want to take the under on this 44.5 rushing yards. I just think that Josh Allen's going to eat up a lot of the rushing attempts in this offense, especially in this game. So with Devin Singletary, 44.5 rushing yards, I will take the under. Especially they want to get James Cook more involved. Zach Moss is still getting touches. So not a lot there. For Jalen Hurts, this is another rushing prop that I liked the over for, 49.5 rushing yards. I mean, he dropped almost 100, almost a C note on Detroit last week. I think that he could do it again. I know that they are also wanting to pass more, but with the receiving threats of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, that is going to open up opportunities for Jalen Hurts to run, and Jalen Hurts is too talented of a runner to not be able to exploit that. So, with that being said, I like Jalen Hurts here at 49.5 rushing yards. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take a look here at last season's games and see if they played the Vikings. They did not play the Vikings. But, interesting note, in games where Jalen Hurts was healthy, there was only 2 times that he got under 49.5 rushing yards, and that was a game for 44 yards and a game for 47 yards against the Bucks and the Chiefs, respectively. So the first 12 games of the season, he was ripping off 62, 82, I found 2 more, 35 and 30. But out of the 12 games, there were only 4 games where he went under 49.5 receiving yards, or rushing yards, Then he got hurt, didn't play week 13, had the bye, and then when he came back for those last games of the season, he was obviously still limited. And even then, he still dropped games of 38 rushing yards and 44 rushing yards. So I think we see Philadelphia doing everything they can to combat the offensive passing firepower of Minnesota tonight. And I think we're going to see a lot of Jalen Hurts running, just like we're going to see a lot of Josh Allen running, because they are too talented of runners to not be able to utilize that as part of the game plan. So I will take the over on Jalen Hurts, 49.5 projected rushing yards. Especially when looking at Jalen Hurts in his passing. He did 243 passing yards last week and still got 90 rushing yards. So I see them eating the ground up. Philadelphia is a run-first team, even though they have great receiving talent. All right. With Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, Alexander Madison. I like Alexander Madison's rushing prop for 17.5 rushing yards. He doesn't really catch any passes, but he does go out there in relief duty for Dalvin Cook. And we saw Dalvin Cook a little limited last week. Green Bay was able to stuff him and keep him at how many yards? 90 yards. They didn't really keep him, but Dalvin Cook ripping off 90 yards last week. And Alexander Madison was still able to get 36. I don't think Philadelphia's defense, even though they got a stout front, is as good as Green Bay's defense, especially the performance they showed us last night. So we are going to take the over for Alexander Madison, 17.5 rushing yards, God bless. I need more coffee. 17.5 rushing yards. I think Madison can hit it. So we will have faith in that. With Kenneth Gainwell, I think that's a riskier prop. He only hit 20 last week, and I think the Vikings defense is going to be better than Detroit's defense. So if I were to do anything with this prop, I would take the under on Kenneth Gainwell, 18.5 rushing yards. Miles Sanders is an interesting case. I feel like with the history, we have not been able to depend on Miles Sanders to get work, but Miles Sanders ended up throwing up 56 or 96 yards, excuse me, last week. So I want to take a look here and see the amount of snaps he played. Or not snaps, but touches. 13 rushes. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I think I would. I think I'd stay away from this prop. I don't know if I would take the under or the over on it. I'm leaning, I'd be more inclined to take the over, just going off of recent history bias. But, yeah. 56.5 rushing yards. Inclined to take the over. I think that could be reasonable with Jalen Hurts, 50 rushing yards. Miles Sanders, 57 rushing yards. I mean, Jalen Hurts isn't going to be getting all the rushing yards. I just know there's Boston Scott there. There's Kenneth Gainwell there. You know, all three of the running backs got rushing touchdowns, and Jalen Hurts got rushing touchdowns. So, you know, they're a ground team first, and it's kind of hard to figure out who's going to get the best run outside of Jalen Hurts when it comes to rushing attempts. All right. Now, looking at our receiving yards total, Stephon Diggs, 73.5 receiving yards. I think our boy Stephon Diggs, I think he's going to go. Let me see here. Let me look at their game from last season. I'm taking the over, though, on this game right here. Because, there's just nobody on the Tennessee's defense who can stop Stephon Diggs. I mean, goodness gracious. Just give me 1 second here, looking at the other screen. So yeah, last season, Stephon Diggs went off for 89 receiving yards and a touchdown. Yeah, give me the over on this. I think that the Bills are going to continue to lay the smackdown on teams this year. I'm not really sure who can hang with the Bills outside of Tampa Bay, Green Bay, the Chiefs, the Chargers. So I think Stephon Diggs is going to eat. So Stephon Diggs, 73.5 receiving yards. Give me the over on that all day. Outside of Stephon Diggs, I like Treylon Burks player prop, 28.5 receiving yards. He got 55 last week on the New York Giants. I know the Buffalo Bills are a much tougher test than the New York Giants, but somebody has to catch the ball tonight. Robert Woods, I know he's still working his way back. What did Robert Woods go off for last week? Only 13 receiving yards. So yeah, I feel like since there's not very much tape on Treylon Burks, the top corner coverage in Buffalo will be focused on Robert Woods, trying to make sure he does not go off, because they know what he can do. I mean, heck, he used to play for the organization, if there's still anybody there from that era. So I think most of the defensive attention, at least to begin with, will be going to Robert Woods. I think Treylon Burks will see a lot of man coverage one-on-one, and I could see a lot of short to intermediate passes happening for Treylon Burks. 5-6 targets, see him easily being able to get 3-4 catches and turning that into 29 yards. So I will take the over on that Treylon Burks player prop. Okay. Here, I want to get rid of these so I can expand my screen. All right. We got Jeff Swam, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He got 19 receiving yards last week. I know Austin Hooper is there, but Austin Hooper didn't get much of anything against the Giants last week. So if I want to play a tight end player prop, I would take Jeff Swam, 10.5 receiving yards, doing the over on that. Another receiving prop that I like. It's not the Dalvin Cook prop. It's the Justin Jefferson prop. I do not think that the Eagles have anybody to cover Justin Jefferson, especially the type of plays and offensive routes that Justin Jefferson is running, the offensive playbook that Kevin O'Connell has brought over. I think we're going to see a lot of Justin Jefferson lining up on one side of the field and running to the other side of the field through the middle of the field, thus creating a lot of open shots. So I'll be taking Justin Jefferson, 96.5 receiving yards. Give me the over on that. Justin Jefferson is going to have a historic season this year. It's, we'll look at this video at the end of the season, and and we'll see how right we were. For this Madison prop right here, I wouldn't mind taking the under on it, 5.5 receiving yards. I don't think Madison gets any targets in this offense because Dalvin Cook is the primary pass catching back. So when they are in passing to the running back situations, you're not going to have Alexander Madison out there. So I wouldn't mind taking Alexander Madison, 5.5 projected receiving yards, taking the under on that. As a matter of fact, that will be something I will include in one of my parlays. And then, taking a look at passing touchdowns, they got Jalen Hurts for 1.5, but with them being a rushing attack, not so sure about that. I can see him maybe getting one and then getting another score on the ground. The running backs getting scores. Rushing touchdowns. No, Dalvin Cook was held out of the end zone last week. Does that end this week? I don't know. Receiving touchdowns. I feel like we can lock up Stephon Diggs and Justin Jefferson with receiving touchdowns for tonight's games. I mean, Justin Jefferson had 2 last week. Slide over. Stephon Diggs had 1 last week. These are the number 1 weapons in these offenses. So for both Stephon Diggs and Justin Jefferson, 0.5 receiving touchdowns, I will take the over on both of them. And for that matter, I also like Josh Allen, 2.5 pass, rush, or receiving touchdowns. So I think we're going to see Josh Allen rush a touchdown in tonight. And I think that we're going to, and I know we're going to see him get at least a couple passing touchdowns tonight. I do not think Devin Singletary is going to rush a touchdown in. I don't think James Cook or Zach Moss is going to rush a touchdown in. They're not going to do some tight end sweeps or wide receiver sweeps or anything like that. So Josh Allen, 2.5 pass rush receiving touchdowns. I'll take the over on that because I think he's a lock for at least 3 touchdowns passing and rushing tonight. And for those of you who don't know, this category right here, pass, rush, receiving, this gives you points for, it counts for either of these actions happening. So I really like these combo props right here, combo categories. As far as fantasy score goes, I was looking at Ryan Tannehill's, all he needs is like 250 and a touchdown, and he could crack or get in the vicinity of the score. But there aren't really a lot of fantasy score props that I'm in love with tonight. I feel like everything is priced kind of high. So I'll be staying away from these fantasy score props. I mean, if Miles Sanders is held out of the end zone, then he's got to get 111 rushing yards in order to, 111 scrimmage yards in order to hit this right here. I don't know if the Vikings defense is bad enough for him to be able to do that by himself, especially historically speaking. Justin Jefferson, I think he might hit this number right here. But fantasy score props, you can find some good value with fantasy score props, but they are It's hard, man. It's hard. At least in my opinion. The Bills D, though, that might be one to take the over on, because I can see them getting a lot of sacks and probably an interception tonight, and holding Tennessee to under 20 points, which would automatically give them a 4 in fantasy scoring if you are familiar with fantasy football. And, you know, point per sack, 2 points per fumble recovery or interception. I can see that happening. So if I were to take any fantasy prop scores tonight, it'd be this Bills one right here. You know, I'm not going to take Traylon Burks. You know, he would need like 40 yards and 3 catches, or 30 yards and 4 catches. And I'm confident in the yardage, but yeah, you know, actually I do like that. Now I'm talking myself into it. Okay. So Bills DST fantasy score of 7. I'll take the over on that. And Traylon Burks fantasy score of 7.5. I will take the over on that, because I can, if he gets 4 or 5 catches, only uses 20 or 30 yards, which will play into the other prop of his receiving yardage being 27.5 yards. So yeah, give me that. Or 28.5 yards. Okay, these props might be changing. It's very soon, so we need to go ahead and get our parlay set now. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, you know, could make an argument for Tyler Bass, but I think that Buffalo will be scoring, have an easy time scoring, so I don't think they are going to be kicking a lot of field goals. But the Traylon Burks fantasy score, the Buffalo Bills fantasy score, and the Justin Jefferson fantasy score, I'll take the over on that, because I know he's projected to get 24 points tonight. You know, catches do count as a point. These are based off PPR scoring, so yeah, these are 3 fantasy score props that I like right here. Justin Jefferson taking the over, the Bills taking the over, and Traylon Burks taking the over. But this video has just hit 30 minutes, and I do not want it to go on any longer. That is just going over some of the props. I know I said I was only going to do 5, at least, you know, originally, but I can't help it. I like going over all of them because it gives a greater potential and greater selection. So just trying to provide the best amount of value that I can. You know, that's what I want to do here at this channel. I want to bring value, because if I know there's a lot of people like me, I love researching and trying to go through all the analytics before I make decisions, especially when I'm playing with some moolah. So I'm going to cut the video right here because I'm just rambling at this point. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it brought you some value. If you like this video, please leave a like down below. Also, be sure to smash the subscribe button. Join the DTF family, because here at Dubs Team Fantasy Sports, we are trying to grow the channel and trying to bring that value, like I just said. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of these player props, which ones you are playing yourself tonight, because through the communication, we all can learn, baby. But until next time, which I'll be putting out a video tomorrow talking about waiver wire pickups for week 3, so be sure to come back and check that out. But until then, I'll catch you guys on the next one.